So for our last show of the day, I wanted to bring you guys a very interesting article written by Michael Schneider. Michael is the author of several different websites as well as several books. For instance, he's the author of The Economic Collapse, The End of the American Dream, and also The Most Important News. But he wrote an article that I found very interesting and possibly even prophetic. It's in regards to the Yellowstone Super Volcano. And so I'd like to talk about that a little bit. Is it possible that the Yellowstone supervolcano is gearing up for a major eruption? When most people think of Yellowstone, they tend to conjure up images of Old Faithful, Yogi Bear, and a television show starring Kevin Costner. But the reality of the matter is that Yellowstone poses a very serious threat to all of us. Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming is actually sitting directly above a massive supervolcano. The magma hotspot underneath it is about 300 miles wide. This supervolcano has erupted before, and scientists tell us that when it fully erupts again, it could potentially destroy the United States. So could such an eruption happen anytime soon? Well, we know that Yellowstone is overdue for a major eruption. And we also know that there are hundreds of earthquakes in the Yellowstone area every single year. Scientists that monitor Yellowstone have been quite alarmed that some areas of Yellowstone have been slowly but steadily rising. And here in 2025, there have been some very unusual earthquake swarms. So yes, there are some good reasons to be really concerned about what has been going on at Yellowstone. Michael goes on to state that I watch Yellowstone very closely because an eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano could end life as we know it in America in a single moment. Geologists tell us that a full-blown eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano could have up to 1,000 times the power of an eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980. Such an eruption would have the potential to dump a suffocating layer of volcanic ash that is at least 10 feet deep on almost the entire country, and approximately 2/3 of the U.S. would immediately become uninhabitable. The Yellowstone supervolcano is the biggest volcano in North America by a very wide margin, and a major eruption would permanently turn all of our lives completely upside down. In fact, a major eruption at Yellowstone would permanently end America's status as a superpower in just a single day. So when Yellowstone shakes, that should definitely get our attention. In late January, a magnitude 3.9 earthquake was keenly felt throughout Yellowstone National Park, and subsequently, there were 2 very alarming earthquake swarms in the area during the month of February. In fact, a swarm of 18 earthquakes was located approximately 13 miles south-southwest of Mammoth in Yellowstone National Park during February 1st through the 8th. The largest earthquake in the sequence was a magnitude 1.6. A swarm of 11 earthquakes took place approximately 5 miles south-southeast of West Thumb in Yellowstone National Park on February 11th. The largest there was a 2.4. Michael goes on to state that I want to be very clear about something. There is absolutely no reason to panic at this stage, but I do believe that we should be watching. So exactly what would a full-blown eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano mean for the United States and for the rest of the world? The following are 12 facts about the Yellowstone supervolcano that are more than just a little bit frightening. Number 1, the magma hotspot underneath Yellowstone is approximately 300 miles wide. Number 2, a full-blown eruption of Yellowstone could be up to 1,000 times more powerful than the eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980. Number 3, according to Google AI, a full-blown eruption of Yellowstone could send volcanic ash up to 30 to 50 miles high. Number 4, according to Wikipedia, the Yellowstone caldera has been rising as quickly as 150 millimeters or 5.9 inches per year. Number 5, there are more than 1,000 earthquakes in the Yellowstone area every single year. Number 6, in the event of a full-blown eruption of Yellowstone, virtually the entire northwest United States will be completely destroyed. Number 7, a full-blown eruption of Yellowstone would mean that just about everything within a 100-mile radius of Yellowstone would be immediately killed. Number 8, A full-blown eruption of Yellowstone could potentially dump a layer of volcanic ash that is at least 10 feet deep up to 1,000 miles away. Number 9. A full-blown eruption of Yellowstone would cover virtually the entire Midwest with a very thick layer of volcanic ash. Food production in the U.S. would be almost totally wiped out for an extended period of time. Number 10. The volcanic winter that a massive Yellowstone eruption would cause would radically cool the planet. Some scientists believe that the global temperatures would decline by up to 20 degrees. This would result in a horrific global famine. Number 11. America would never be the same again after a massive Yellowstone eruption. Some scientists believe that a full eruption of Yellowstone would render 2/3 of the United States completely uninhabitable. And number 12. Scientists tell us that it is not a matter of if Yellowstone will erupt again, but rather when the next inevitable eruption will take place. Volcanoes that were dormant for centuries are starting to come back to life all over the globe. The giant rock that we are living on is becoming increasingly unstable, and that should greatly concern all of us. If Yellowstone were to blow tomorrow, the consequences would be absolutely cataclysmic. Hundreds of cubic miles of ash, rock, and lava would be blasted into the atmosphere, and this would likely plunge much of the northern hemisphere into several days of almost complete darkness. Virtually everything within 100 miles of Yellowstone National Park would be immediately wiped out. But a much more cruel fate would befall those that live in major cities outside of the immediate blast zone, such as Salt Lake City and Denver. Extremely hot ash, rock, and dust would rain down on those cities literally for weeks. In the end, it would be extremely difficult for anyone living in those areas to survive. In fact, it has been estimated that at least 90% of the population that is living within 600 miles of Yellowstone would be killed. Experts tell us that such an eruption would dump a layer of volcanic ash that is at least 10 feet deep up to 1,000 miles away, and approximately 2/3 of the United States would suddenly become uninhabitable. The volcanic ash would severely contaminate most of our water supplies, and growing food in the middle of the country would become next to impossible. In other words, it would be the end of our country as we know it today. The rest of the world, and this would especially be true for those living in the northern hemisphere, they would experience what is known as a volcanic winter. We would enter an extended period of global cooling, and average temperatures around the world would drop up to 20 degrees. Crops would fail all over the planet, and severe famine would likely kill billions. Michael goes on to state in my latest book entitled Why, I discuss the fact that the Bible tells us there will be apocalyptic natural disasters in the end times. Unfortunately, most of the population is not taking those warnings seriously. Just last week, he had posted an article in which he specifically mentioned the New Madrid fault zone, the Cascadia subduction zone, and the potential for a cataclysmic earthquake in Southern California. So let us keep a very close eye on Yellowstone, and let us pray that it does not erupt anytime soon. The Bible tells us in the books of Acts and Joel that God said, I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. Could this be in reference to volcanoes? It could also be in reference to fires. But he is very specific in the books of Matthew, Mark, and Luke that we will see earthquakes in diverse places. Matthew chapter 24 verses 6 through 8. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So this could potentially be a very big problem if this supervolcano were to erupt. Now, hopefully that won't happen anytime soon, but it could happen during the tribulation period, because during those days, the Earth's activity is definitely going to go up a few notches. We're going to see more earthquake activities. In fact, the book of Revelation talks about a worldwide earthquake. So when we see earthquakes happen, we usually see volcanoes erupt. So definitely a very interesting piece here. And as always, I'll continue to keep you updated. With that said, I wanted to send out a huge thank you for spending the day with me today. And if you have any comments, I'd love to hear from you. So please leave those below this video. In addition, come and visit us on our social media pages, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble. Subscribe here on YouTube. We're also on Telegram, on X, on Truth Social. We're everywhere. So go and like and subscribe. In addition, come and visit us on our new website at www.cww7news.com. We've got some articles on there that are exclusively from CWW7 News. So I'd love to see you guys over there. With all of that said, thank you again. And until tomorrow, God bless and stay safe.